Some homes in the Dallas suburbs are still selling in as little as 1 day. Others are sitting for 6 months or more. And most sellers assume they're at the mercy of the market, but they're not.
The market only plays a small role in determining when a home sells. Most people don't realize that they have more control over that timeline than they think.
If you're considering selling soon, instead of asking how long does it take to sell, the better question is, what actually determines how fast your home will sell? Today we're going to look at how long homes are taking to sell across DFW by location and by price point, and then we'll show you what actually controls how quickly your home sells, no matter what kind of market you're in.
If you're planning a move, especially if you're coordinating selling your current home and buying your next one, timing matters. It affects how much control you have in the deal, and it affects how strong your position is when offers come in. And it absolutely affects how confidently you can move forward on your next home.
So instead of guessing, let's look at what's actually happening. First, we'll zoom out and then we'll narrow it down.
Now let's start off at the 30,000 foot view of looking at the 4 counties that make up the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is going to be Collin County, Dallas County, Denton County, and Tarrant County. Now each area is going to be a little bit different. I'll show you here on the graph. So right now Collin County is taking them a median days of about 62 days to sell. Now Dallas County is taking 45 days to sell, and Denton County is taking 61 days, with Tarrant County taking 45 days. Now, the interesting part of this is that Denton County and Collin counties, their days in the market are higher than Dallas and Tarrant. And a lot of that is driven by the new construction, because what the builders will do is go ahead and put a property on the market for sale before the house is even completed. So that's going to give a lot longer days in the market than, for example, a pre-existing home. So that's going to skew the numbers a little bit, and that's why, because there's just so much construction going on in those 2 counties right now. Since these numbers are very general across a lot of the different cities and price points, let's drill down further into a few suburbs. So let's take a look at Flower Mound, Argyle, Trophy Club, and Keller. These are just random examples that we've pulled. Now, Flower Mound, the average days in the market, the median days in the market are going to be 35 days. Argyle's at 97 days, and Trophy Club's at 23, and Keller is at 49. Now here's the interesting part of everything is that when we look at Argyle, for it's taking 97 days on the median range to sell, that is a very dynamic market, meaning there's a lot of new construction going on. So like what we talked about, the builders, put them on, and then it just takes a long time on those numbers. And with all the development going on, then there's also property on acreage and also horse properties, and that's taking effect because that's taking longer to sell as well. So those days on the market for Argyle are always going to be a little higher than the other cities or towns in the area. So then we look at Flower Mound, they're at 35 days. Now, there's really not a lot of new construction going on there. It's all pre-existing, so that's a pretty good solid number with that. Now we look at Trophy Club at 23. Now, what I believe with that, where there's a lot of corporations moving into the area, like the Charles Schwab big facility that has gone in, that has driven a lot of the days on the market to go lower, because there's so much housing demand right there, since it's just right across Highway 114 to the Schwab campus right there. Now Keller's at 49 days. Yeah, that's up a little bit from this time last year. However, it's still a very healthy market. Next, let's take a look on how long it's taking to sell homes in a certain price range.
But before we get into that, if we haven't met, we are Bret and Molly Chance. And if you're trying to figure out your selling timeline, just reach out and we'll be happy to have a short discovery call before you make any big decisions.
So let's just pick one of the suburbs. So we're just going to choose Flower Mound in this case. So when we look at it from the $750,000 price range all the way up to basically $1 million, is taking 66 days to sell. Now let's take a look at the $1 million to basically $2 million price range. Now it's only taking 75 days to sell. So that's only just a few more days than it was in the lower price range. Now let's jump up to the $2 million to $3 million. Now it's showing 0 because right now there's really not much on the market with that price point. Now let's go to $3 million and above, And that is showing, as of December, about 66 days to sell.
And this is where most sellers draw the wrong conclusion. They assume their price bracket and their location determine everything. They assume that they're stuck with whatever the market gives them. But that's not how this works. Because once you understand what drives demand inside your price point and your area, you realize that you have influence over where you land inside that range.
You can't control the entire market, but you can control whether you're on the fast end of the bracket or the slower end. And that's a part most sellers are not told.
No matter where you live and no matter what your home is worth, there are things that you can do to influence how fast your home sells. The first 2 weeks on the market matter more than anything else. That initial exposure window is when the most motivated buyers are watching. If you hit the market prepared, meaning you're priced correctly inside your bracket, you're presented well, you're positioned strategically against your competition, you create urgency, you create your own market. And if you miss that window, you're going to wind up selling typically for less than you could have had you just priced it, correctly and presented it well in the beginning.
Now here's the concern we hear all the time. If it sells quickly, did we leave money on the table? That fear stops a lot of sellers from positioning their home correctly. A lot of people still believe that if a home sells fast, it must have been priced too low. That is not true. A well-priced home doesn't sell fast because it's discounted. It sells fast because it's positioned correctly inside its price bracket.
When a home hits the market aligned with buyer expectations, it attracts the entire body of qualified and motivated buyers immediately. But when it's even 5% off, just slightly above where buyers see value, activity slows down, showings stretch out, reductions happen, and days on the market start working against you. Speed is not a sign of underpricing, and in many cases, it's a sign of precision.
So when people ask us, how long does it take to sell a house in Dallas? The honest answer is, it depends. But the more important question is this: where do you want to be positioned? Because that's the difference between reacting to the market and creating your own market.
If you're planning to sell your home this year, there is one mistake we're seeing over and over again, and it's costing sellers time and money. So before you list your home for sale, watch that video next.